the red hair, Miss Chastain. Now, in this country, and you know this, that in this country, we have an odd relationship with red hair.
You guys are so mean to your redhead.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
I don't understand it. It doesn't happen in... Well, it happens a little bit in the United States. But you guys are really mean.
But not to you.
Well, one time to me, I mean, I was working in Thailand with a bunch of British guys, and they were telling me that everyone, calls him Ginger and makes fun. I was like, no, that doesn't happen. And then I was in the airport in Bangkok, and I heard these English guys go, Ginger! Ginger! Screaming at me. I was like, really?
But what was it? Didn't your parents kind of prep you for school? Any trouble you might have in school?
Yeah, I was an odd kid. I mean, actually, that photo you showed me as a child was probably in the 80s. It was definitely in the 80s.
Okay.
And you saw, my hairstyle and my crooked tooth hanging out of my mouth. And so whenever people would, make fun of me, call me Carrot Top, whatever, I'd come home crying. And my parents would give me comebacks, So then I'd go to school the next day, and they would, make fun of me, calling me Carrot Top, and I just turn around and I go, Carrot Tops are green. Right?
Of course. Yeah. Eat that.
Yeah. Take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zing.
Right in my face.
It's because there's fewer red-haired people around. This is the thing, and it's a bit like the squirrels in this country. It used to be a lot of red squirrels, and now there's a lot of grey squirrels. And look at the panel. It's
Yeah, we're ganging up on you.
So you killed all your red squirrels?
well, we didn't. The grey ones did.
Run for your life. But now here's the thing, because I look at you because I haven't been to one of your live gigs. I've seen you perform on the show, and it seems unlikely that you crowd surf. But you like it.
I love it. Yeah.
There you are.
I mean, there's so much crowd interaction. I mean, really getting as close to people as possible is what I really like to do. So it's sometimes quite hard when I'm doing this to stay on the stage and not go down and start interacting with people. But I'm like, okay, no, it's TV, just behave.
But do you have to choose? Are there some outfits where you kind of think this is not a stage crowd surfing outfit?
Oh, no. You can crowd surf in Gucci, yeah, it's fine.
OK. You might come back with less of it, but... I'm sure I was wearing a cape. But, Bruce, do you still crowd surf?
I'm retiring that.
No. We've got a picture of this. That looks recent. Hey! That looks recent. And look how happy you are.
It's true. But I'm retiring. But I've had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah.
The only question I have for both of you is how do you control where you go? Because I've done that at festivals before, and you're with your friends, and all of a sudden you're gone, and you never find them again.
You can't. You
just get.
I've been crowd surfed out of a show before, and it was on I got so overexcited. I crowd surfed on the third song in, and then that was it. I was out.
I really wish you could do this with comedy. That would be so fun. My mum's got fat ankles. That's so fun in music, man.
Well, it's about trust, It's about trust and the audience trusting you and you're trusting them, and so you're like.
And it changes the temper of the rest of the evening in a lovely way.
You're doing Hyde Park. Imagine crowd surfing in Hyde Park. That would take hours.
Yeah, but if there's bad traffic, then you can cross the entire park in 2 seconds and you're
crowd
out.
surfing back to your hotel.
Exactly.
Because, Deborah, did Ginger Spice do great things for redheads all over the world?
I don't know. Did she?
I don't know.
You know what? In America, redheads on television, it's equated with being funny. I Love Lucy, Carol Burnett. Right. And so
you?
I was a dark auburn, and when I got my first comedy, my TV show, they were like, "Oh, you got to make your hair redder," and I was like, "Well, why?" And they're like, "It's funnier."
It's more clown-like.
And I was like, Ronald McDonald? Like, what are you talking about? So I guess that's the rule in America.
It's one of those things, because it's Jane Campion, you...
No, this was
No, I know, but top of the lake.
Sorry.
Yeah, top of the lake, Jane Campion. But it's always that embarrassing thing where you don't want to assume that Australian people know each other just because they're from Australia. But you have known her for donkey's years, haven't you?
Jane discovered me in a drama school when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And she cast me in her student film at the time. And we have a friendship, you know, and I'm now 50, so, I mean, that many years. And that, to me, is what the great thing about this industry is when you can have that journey together. And
but you nearly didn't, because didn't you not do that student film?
I didn't do the student film because I very much regret it. But I didn't do it because she wanted me to wear a shower cap and kiss a girl. And I was 14 at the time, and I was like, no. I want to kiss a boy, and I want to have
Which
nice
is worse,
hair.
the shower cap or kissing the girl? I would say the shower cap.
The shower cap was really bad. And now I'd be like, yes, please.
No, but
I'll
the trouble,
kiss a girl, I'll
the trouble
wear
is,
a shower
I'd be
cap.
showing you clips of it now, so you're glad you didn't do it. It's all...
No, it's a fantastic film. Are you
is it?
kidding? Oh, I wish I was in it.
Do we know anyone who was in it?
Who played you?
There you go, see?
Doesn't matter, Alan. A really good Australian actress who... I don't know.
So they're really good in Australia. They're excellent. They won't be throwing things at the television right now.
Really? He's a really good actress.
We'll cut this bit out, don't worry. Or we'll just dub in her name. my voice. Mary Smith. Does that bug you when you watch a film, Jamie, and people aren't cooking right? If they're pretending to be a cook?
It really does. It's like, I've got to get back into The Bear, because I watched the first two. I know it's brilliant. Everyone keeps telling me how brilliant it is. But I watched the first two, and I'm like, he can't chop.
No.
And they just jump cut it and cut around it. And like, no, but you don't chop. You don't. And they often get extras in the background that are actors, not chefs, even though they've got no lines. But they're just touching it all wrong and sort of, you know, bashing it all wrong. And, yeah, it does wind me up.
Yeah.
Take note.
No one else noticed this. It's only me.
But, Julian, you are one of those actors who puts the work in. I know when you did 9 months with Hugh Grant, you hadn't had a baby at that stage.
Nope, I hadn't had a baby. So there was a woman who very generously offered to talk to me about pregnancy and then allowed me to watch her birth.
Wow.
That was a lot, right? You know, to have an actress in the delivery room.
Well, not just a stranger.
I know. Well, we got to know each other a little bit, but it's true. It was only probably, I've known her about 4 weeks or something.
Did you hold the baby?
No. I stayed by the wall. I tried to stay out of the way. But I mean, she was incredibly generous with her time, and it was a beautiful experience. But it's kind of amazing what people will allow you to watch and how they'll offer the details of their lives. But you want to get it right, because you don't want Jamie Oliver saying, you don't know how to chop.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait to see her baking.
Or push,
you
know.
But
Sarah, many people may know you from your brilliant work in A Brilliant Show, but we can't talk about that tonight because of the strike and everything.
Oh, what bollocks! It's brilliant.
Yes,
You're wonderful in it. Absolutely
yes, Miriam. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. We all know it's wonderful. But the good news is we can talk about your latest work, because you are coming to glittering West End in London in a play. Yes.
Yeah.
This is The Picture of Dorian Gray. It doesn't open till next February, the 6th of February, at the Theatre Royal Haymarket. And so this is the Oscar Wilde story staged.
Yes. With one person playing all of the characters.
That'll be you.
And that'll be me.
Yeah.
26 characters, which is...
Got a good gasp.
Too many. Yeah, too many. I should have said no. I should have said 25, 24.
I was going to say 6.
Some of them only have one line or so. So
thank God.
It's, you know, it's a blink and you'll miss them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a daunting Mount Everest of a task.
But it sounds like it's
a lot of fun.
But it's not just you kind of, you know, putting a hat on. It sounds like multimedia and experimental and...
I guess you'd say cinetheatre, in that there's screens, and I'll have to do, in December, some pre-recorded stuff. So some of the characters exist only in the pre-record, but then also there are characters that exist in both, and I interact with myself. So there'll be, I'm sure this will happen on some nights where you know when you're doing a scene with someone and you can see that they're not really in it anymore? I'll be doing that with myself, going like, well, you're just phoning it in. You're phoning it in. Where's this actress?
Catherine Tate's theatrical roots, of course, go back to nativity play. Was that your first?
It was my first appearance in a nativity play when I was 4. Obviously, as we were all in nativity plays, I'm sure.
I was
you
bumped
weren't.
at the last minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a very good part. Well, I didn't get any part. And I guess, I don't know if my mum was a bit pushy or just wanted to encourage me, because I was a little girl with glasses, ginger hair, you know what I mean.
Yes.
And I used to wet myself as well, quite a lot. I did. In school...
Did you mean to?
Do you know what it was? I completely remember...
The way she says, I used to wet myself.
Yeah. I used to sit there in Story Corner and we were having a book read to us, and I remember thinking, oh, it would be really embarrassing if I asked to go to the loo. Not thinking how embarrassing it would be once I wet myself and say, I've wet myself again. And then they go, Miss, Catherine's wet herself again. But yeah, I used to wet myself. It's so much so that the teachers used to have spare pants in the drawer for me. This was in 6th form. Anyway, so I didn't get a good part because I was terribly shy.
I can imagine, yes.
Can't even say I can go to... Can I go to the toilet?
It's like a therapy session now for you.
I know, it is.
I like it. Wait. Go. So your mother shows up.
So I came back and said, oh, I haven't got a very good part in the nativity. And my mum said, well, does Sister Dorothy know that you can do an impression of Gary Glitter?
Different times, everyone. Different times.
It was a different time. And so I said... so my mum said, you must go and say what you can do. And I said to Sister Mary Dorothy, I have to tell you that I can do an impression of Gary Glitter. And that my mum said, when the 3 kings arrive, I could turn up as well as the king of glam rock. And the teacher was kind of going, well, I don't think there's much room in the nativity for Gary Glitter to show up. And I said, look, it's the birth of our Lord. Don't you think Mary and Joseph would have had a party? And to her credit, at the nativity, they stopped the nativity show and said, ladies and gentlemen, the cabaret's arrived. And there's people with tea towels on their head, you know, with a little baby. And I come in and go, come on, come on. And that's where it all began. And then, of course, I wet myself.
Come on. Oh.
Come on.
It's interesting about people's ambition, because Damien, beside you, you wanted to be an actor from very small, didn't you?
About 16, I think, when I decided.
Were you smaller when you used to dream of being on chat shows? You used to pretend... Didn't you used to pretend to be on Wogan?
You're absolutely right. God, that's good. Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Don't argue with the cards.
Yeah, I used to do silly voices in front of the bathroom mirror. Yeah, as a sort of 10-year-old, pretending I was, being interviewed by Terry Wogan.
What sort of things did he ask you at 10?
Can you now do an Irish accent? So, oh, to be sure, yes, I can. As a 10-year-old, I said, now can you do your American accent? No. Oh, yeah, gee, of course I can. You're 10, just...
Chat show gold.
Yeah, just...
Here's the thing, Brendan, because, obviously everyone's saying how wonderful Ireland is, but because of your successful film career, you must have considered moving to America at some point.
Funny enough, not really. Not that way. No, because I had 4 kids. I had 4 lads already before I went kind of late into full-time acting. I've been doing it, but not with any view to make a living from it. So I went from 34. So by the time it came to me, and I can tell you, actually, one of the first things I did was a thing called Lake Placid, which we shot in Vancouver. Mary came over with the 4 lads, and they would have been in between maybe 8, 9 to sort of maybe 14.
Yeah.
And and so they came in late. And I said, we got to get them something to eat. Or just we went up for a walk. Vancouver's fabulous, but we saw a nice little place. It's still open, great. In we go. And we noticed that, I was thinking about it when your little shorts came up on the shorts of Inishmore. The restaurant was Hooters.
I love that my shorts brought you to Hooters.
Yeah. Little orangey shorts, and you know, the girls are all dressed up as you know, American cheerleaders, stroke girl next door type of thing. But anyway, so we went in and we did. They turned into all these really lovely, sort of really. They saw the kids and they were more frightened than we were. I said, "Uh-oh," and they said, "Ah, kids," but they were lovely. And about 3 months later. The delegation of the lads arrived up and said, listen, we've had a chat, Dad. If you're thinking of moving to America or over that side, it's perfectly fine with us.
They love it. The city calls Hooters.
Yeah,
They have great
great.
chicken wings.
There's nothing wrong with this.
No, gorgeous, so pure.
And Bryce, you know, you've done directing. You directed The Mandalorian, and you've done documentaries and things. And you had this extraordinary thing of growing up with the Oscar-winning Ron Howard, your dad.
Yep.
So, did you learn things for him, or is it just that was your just your?
That's my dad.
Or is he just your dad? Can you see him as a director?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be on set constantly. And he set a really good example always. Like, you know, sometimes actors do go through things that cause, you know, a tremendous stress, and yet you need to move forward. And Jim Carrey on The Grinch, getting all of his makeup on.
He's talked about it on here, yeah.
So intense, and they had him collaborate with a Navy SEAL to train him how to withstand torture, because it was that intense for him. And so one day, my dad just showed up on set with Jim's entire outfit on to just be like, listen, I was in the chair for 6 hours also this morning, and I understand that it's hellish, and I'm gonna work today as the Grinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Not tomorrow, but I'll do it today.
Exactly.
Emma, you've done British before.
Yes.
And was it Olivia Colman has kind of given you tips?
Oh, well, because on The Favourite, that was the first time I had properly done an entire film, you know, with a British accent, and it was, you know, jarring because I was the only American in that cast, and Olivia was so helpful, and I would check in with everybody all the time because everybody was British. And she was like, you know, it's really good if you can say, I can't even do it now. Bottle. There's like a, in the back of your, you know, when you do a double T and it's like, can you say?
Bottle.
Well, you're saying bottle.
What did she want you to say?
She had a kind of, you know, bottle.
Bottle.
Well,
bottle.
like
bottle of beer.
Not bottle.
Oh, not bottle.
Not that, like bottle.
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 We can't do it.
Bottle.
I can't do it. Oh my God, I'm doing it so much better than you guys.
Whoa.
I can do a British accent.
Boy,
But that's always been in my head. And she was like, oh, it's fine. Bottle, it's fine. Which it is, clearly.
Yeah.
But no, I've always had it in my head. And then I did a British accent in Cruella. And then in this, again, I can't stop. I'm obsessed with you guys.
Yeah. You work with your family, like, all the time.
Whenever I can. My brother Clint's an actor. My father Rance is still acting in his 80s and working all the time. I love to work with him.
And your mom, sadly, is no longer with us, but she did get a part in, was it Apollo 13?
Apollo 13, she had a really nice role, which almost didn't happen because I got this call from my dad, and he said, you know, I just read the rewrite on Apollo 13. And I said, yeah. And he said, there's a new part in there. I said, yeah, there is. Jim Lovell's mother. I said, yeah, she's got a nice scene. I said, yeah. You know who'd be really good for that? Who do you think, Dad? Your mom. And boy, I don't know. I'd have to audition her. and he said, well, fine. And so and my mom was all for that. And she said, I don't want to do it if Ronnie doesn't think I can do it. So I went over to their house and we worked through the scene, and she was great, and we did it in a couple of takes, and she was I've never been prouder, and she even got written up in the New York Times Review, and it wound up being a great moment. She played Jim Lovell's mother.
It would have been worse if you hadn't given her the part after the audition. This isn't going to work out.
I'll tell you what's really bad. My dad's an actor. I cast him whenever it's appropriate, you know. And here's the call I've had to make to him. Hey, Dad, you know, you did great, but, you know, the movie was a little long. And next would be, am I in it at all? Maybe in the extended DVD cut. So that's a tough call. But he's an old warhorse. He understands.
And total, you know, you've been in all these big franchises, like you've been in Harry Potter, Star Wars, you've been in movies like The Revenant. But apparently, when you go back to Ireland, people only want to talk to you about one thing.
Yeah, it's a kind of a funny one. When I was in my 20s, I did like a sketch show in Ireland called Your Bad Self for the national public, like the broadcaster there, RTE. And I wrote sketches with my friend Michael, and we did the sketches, and that's kind of what we did.
Sketches?
Yeah, but there was this one sketch that I did that really stuck around. Like, nobody watched the show, it felt like, at the time. But this one sketch just seems to do the rounds. And people stop me about it all the time in really awful ways. But the sketch was basically, it's a guy with all his friends in a car, and they're going to a concert, and he's drank too much lemonade. He's like, you need to pull over, and you need to go to the toilet, and will you please pull over? And they're saying, just go in a bottle. You can just go in a bottle. And he's like, no, I'm in. And they say, OK, fine. So I say fine, and then I do a poo in a bottle. So it turns out he needed to do it. It turns out he needed to do a poo. And so...
It's a good sketch.
It's a good sketch. In Ireland, like, people stop me about that all the time. And it's so weird. You're on a night out, and you hear, like, hey, Donal! And you turn around, and it's a woman, weird, and she's got, like, a bottle of Heineken. She's like, look, I don't want to... It's like... It's really... And I'm like, I was in The Revenant, God damn it! Yeah.
I think, is this a clip for... This is... Don't worry, it's not your food.
Yeah.
It's
a nice laugh on the face. It's like, you guys have a problem? Like,
Yeah. I love it. He thought it was cool.